My name is Chasey Potatoes, and tonight we will be watching some of the most horrifying movies that you can find on your Netflix catalog. You know which ones I mean. The ones you see on your catalog that look so unreal, so terrifying that you just... How was it made? How did it end up on Netflix? The terror! The horror! You know which films. The ones you look at and think, ugh, I don't want to watch this. This looks generic and boring and... Well, just look at it. Ugh. Now I know that Halloween has passed. But that doesn't mean that November can't be scary. Nor does it mean that December can't be scary. I mean, we've got movies like Black Christmas and, well, can't think of any right now, but yada yada yada. So of course horror can be seen at any time, at any moment. Even bad horror films. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation. Let's look at some of these horrifying Netflix films. Here's looking at you, Netflix.
First up, I watched Paranormal Activity 2, and boy was it boring. If you want to watch a movie about people basically hanging out in their houses waiting for things to happen, then you're in for a treat. This is the movie for you. Now I remember watching Paranormal Activity 1 back in 2009 with some friends at a movie theater, and if you were alive at that time, I'm sure you remember that whole Demanded campaign.
You demanded it, now playing in theaters everywhere.
Well, it seemed to work, and it drove the masses out to watch Paranormal Activity for Halloween. And by the end of that movie, I remember thinking, wow, is this it? This is horror?
You demanded it.
And here you'll be asking yourself the same damn thing again. The movie has a lot of slow build-up, which is just to compensate for the lack of story, or the lack of anything really happening in the story other than people being paranoid. You have characters just waiting around for things to happen, and then when something does happen, it's usually a boom. Or in this case, a bang. There's a banging at the door. Scary.
사이렌트 힐보 자르 오디오発売中
You also have other variables of fear to look out for in this movie, like random noises, dogs barking at things, people floating around. This movie is really insufferable, especially when you have random cuts that mean absolutely nothing and only really cause further confusion to the story.
What's going on? Where are you, sweetie? Oh.
And not in a good way. The last 20 minutes are full of these obnoxious cuts. The problem with Paranormal Activity is that really it's just a really, really bland movie. They both are. Both Paranormal Activities are. And I can bet the other ones are too.
You serious?
If I had to say any pros about this movie, I guess it would have to be that at least the writers cared to try. They had characters that, well, they weren't the most interesting characters, but at least they gave them some sort of personality.
Don't look at me, look at the screen.
Sure, after a while, it's just a one-way track. The dad doesn't believe in ghosts, and then the girl is like, you gotta believe it. And then the mom is just, I don't know, she's going crazy. The dog and child actors are actually very good. Smart doggy, smart baby. Unfortunately, the movie completely failed at scaring me. Not once was I fucking scared. And there's nothing scary about this movie. The only reason you could be scared is if you're a gullible 8-year-old baby or a 65-year-old grandma who accidentally played this movie. This isn't even a Halloween movie. I wish I could have been in that audience. The movie is absolutely too long. 91 minutes is too long. You need to tighten this up. It could have easily been an hour. If you had just cut out all the annoying development. Nobody cares about this. Watching people waiting around for things to happen isn't scary.
It's supposed to be the intense climax of the movie.
But we can't make a single thing that's happening. There's no fucking tension. Nothing is real. Everything feels fake. Whatever they were trying to build up to, it didn't really work. Because it's not scary. This movie is a waste of time because the ending isn't even exciting. There's nothing scary about it. And when it does end, oh, it just spoon feeds us the ending. Oh, it all ended so badly. It's so much scary. Poor girl who ended up alone without any family. Isn't that scary? Oh yeah, and then there's a scene where the movie tries to connect with the first Paranormal Activity. But by this point, I don't care. Who gives a shit? Wow, I just watched The Presence, or Die Presence, and it was god-awful. This was worse than a student film. I looked up into who this director was, and it's just some guy. He did study in the New York University for film. He might come from money, not that I'm class shaming, but still, how do you crap up this shit? It's just, this movie is so uninspiring. If you watch this movie, you're basically going to watch an uninspiring, cheaply made film. That is made for like gullible people who are easily scared. And I say easily scared. I really mean it. This is worse than what's something that's just really bogus and terrible. This movie wasn't scary. There wasn't any tension, or whatever there was fake as hell. The ending was fucking awful. Terrible and incomprehensible, which was the worst part of it. There were cuts that didn't make any fucking sense, which just confused you. It's worse than Paranormal Activity. I mean, I had to keep wondering, am I watching original versions? It has in the past happened that Netflix screws me with its content. Sometimes it likes to cut it out. So I'm wondering, are there any missing scenes? This happened in Paranormal Activity 2 as well. And I complain about all these cuts because they're really annoying. They completely take you out of the movie, and you can tell what they're trying to do. They're trying to purposely fuck with you, and not even in a functioning way. If anything, it backpedals with the story and completely confuses you. And it's a very simple story, But you're wondering, what is the point of watching this? Give me a reason to watch you and enjoy you. This movie had horrible effects. I may have praised Paranormal Activity 2's effects, but wow, this is worse than a student film. The fights are the most fucking repetitive pieces of shit ever. I swear to God, tonight's fright theme has been, oh my God, there's a bang at the door. I better go check it out. I hope it doesn't fucking murder me. That's it. It's been, there's a bang at the door. Gotta go check it out. Whoops, we're all dead. It's just the same bullshit. I can't believe that's fucking horror. it's bullshit. It's just banging at the door. You know what? Banging at the door can be really fucking scary.
Hello?
Stop it. You're disturbing me.
Thank God. I finally found somebody.
There's a lot of movies about banging at the fucking door. And these movies, that's in their DNA, you know? It's not their fault. It's not their fault they're awful movies. It's not their fault they're generic as fuck. But I do have to ask this director, why? Why did you even make this? You know, I saw your filmography, I checked out the trailers. You made one film that looks nice. I do have to wonder, how did this make it to Netflix? But then again, how did it not? Or how could it not? Jesus Christ. The performances are all fine, I guess. So far these two movies have been about actors that are stuck in lower quality products than they could make. Maybe, unless they're just doing this because the director is their friend. Well, except these two gentlemen. They were boring as fuck. I don't really care about them. The actress in Die Presence was fine. Lisa Price? You could tell she was trying.
Oh, shucks. Hey!
You can tell she wants to be an actress, you know? It's just worse than a student film. The end. Don't watch this movie. A waste of time. God awful. Move on. So by this point, I was pretty inebriated because I knew I was going to need it for this little marathon. And I must admit, when I saw the cover for this movie, Firstborn, which I decided to watch because, well, Paranormal Activity 2 had been about a firstborn as well. So I thought, you know, this looks like hot garbage. I gotta check that shit out. I was intrigued by the opening credits, which reminded me of classic horror movie intros. But I wasn't gonna let this fool me. After all, a lot of these movies do put on a shiny, pretty veneer to fool you into thinking that it's gonna be a good movie. But surprise, surprise, this was actually a good movie. It was really a huge step up from everything else I had seen this night. God damn. Right away, you'll notice that this is an English film. So I guess we're taking a trip around the world tonight, seeing what every country has to offer for horror. We have a lot of neon lights in the film. Maybe I'm just biased towards neon lights, but I thought it looked pretty damn cool. It gave the film a hell of a lot more personality than the last two bland pieces of turkey ham. There is a lot of interesting imagery to the film, which goes beyond just looking at people and chairs. This movie is very, very different from the first two. I am really perplexed as to why they used this cover for this film. I mean, look at it. Would you want to watch this movie? There is horror scattered throughout the film, but this is pretty much a full-on thriller. This movie has some interesting themes to tackle, like what it means to be a parent, what it means to have your firstborn, what that signifies to a family.
Sake, would you shut the fuck up?
The film sort of takes the theme of motherhood and warps it. The movie reminded me a lot of Rosemary's Baby.
Now, maybe all this is coincidence, but one thing is for sure, they have a coven and they want my baby.
Or something like We Need to Talk About Kevin. You could say this is Rosemary's Baby meets Insidious or something. Antonia Thomas does a great job, and there are some scenes where her performances are actually better than others. She's not a talentless lady, just uneven. I actually like Luke Norris, who plays the father. He gave a lot of personality to his character. I suppose it would have been interesting if we had seen more about his backstory, but I guess there just wasn't any time for that. The girl actress is fine. She's actually named Thea in real life. Sometimes her performance is very wooden. And other times it's effective.
School, everyone has the way want it.
I know you want it, my love, but you can't have it, can you?
Jonathan Hyde is in this movie. Remember Jonathan Hyde? Well, he's in this. And really, the best part of this movie was Aileen Davis, who I did look up because I thought she was phenomenal in this movie. She stole the whole damn film, and I don't know why she's not getting more work. You need to hire this woman more often, British talent agencies.
Do you know what suicide is?
No.
Good. It's not an option for us.
I don't really want to give too many spoilers away about this film, because this film, well, it's not particularly special. I think after tonight's duds, this is a masterpiece. But it's not a masterpiece. It's not particularly scary, but however, it does have a lot of style, a lot of interesting ideas that some of these movies just haven't had. This movie actually took its time to develop some things, present some other ideas that maybe didn't get quite enough developed as I think they should have, or maybe it's fine that they didn't, I don't know. But honestly, the aesthetic look of this film, it's really what captures you in a way. This movie actually puts in the time to create some sort of atmosphere, which, was there any atmosphere in the last two movies other than this is stupid? However, if there are any shortcomings to this film, the worst is the horror aspects of this. The horror in this movie it just sucks ass. You just get shitty effects like this. These awful effects you'd see in a Uwe Boll film. I wish I had an angel. Or in the Die Presence, and they're absolutely ass. And it's honestly sad because they really do take away from the film. It really does pull you out. These horror elements were so poorly made, but even though the effects were not good, the story is really the heart of this film. It's interesting, it sort of sets up rules. I'm not one for plot holes, but I'm sure there are some. Whoever wants to do a video about the plot holes in this movie, go ahead. And the best thing about this movie is that every scene led to a new revelation. The whole theme of motherhood and parenthood, really interesting. You could say that the demons are basically some sort of symbolism for all the shit that the parents have to carry, and now they're passing them on to their child. Whether it be disease or terrible habits or addictions or whatever, it's up to the kid to handle all that crap. Our parents just spit all that shit in our mouth, and now we have to carry it. This movie really got to me in that sense. I've never had this sort of fantastical power where you can see demons and you stare them down until they go away. But as a kid, I used to get sick a lot. I don't know, maybe the movie is trying to make some sort of commentary about childhood illness. Parents dealing with it, sometimes wishing they didn't have to deal with it. As a kid, I remember my parents trying all sorts of remedies to cure my maladies. And that is an interesting topic to explore. A parent's concern. Fucking Paranormal Activity had the mother sitting down right after their dog got horribly attacked, and she just sat there for like an hour. She didn't even check on her kid. Couldn't she sit next to her kid's crib for like an hour instead? So yeah, at least I can say that this movie fucking gave a shit. Yeah, it's still got some really terrible effects and horror elements that completely fall flat on their face. And you know, if you're gonna make a movie look this good, why not go the extra mile and just think through the horror scenes? They felt very rushed. They felt very, okay, I want to make this sort of movie, but I don't really know how to write horror into it. How can I make this scary? It's a girl that can see demons. How can I make this scary? I'll make them shake their head violently around. That hasn't been seen before. There's something unique about this film, but you won't walk away in love with it. So anyways, good night guys. We will be unearthing deep into that Netflix catalog. Good night, and I'll see you next time.
Sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me all the time like Blondie. Check out my Chrissy behind.